Thank you for joining into ExpandAbilities Meets. This is Alex.
This is Rob.
It is a pleasure to have you guys tune back into this week's session. This week we are covering another very important topic, as like every other week. Last week we covered depression. This week we are covering anxiety. Rob, any first thoughts on anxiety that you want to just say right off the bat?
I want to say that right now I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling nervous. I'm not sure what's about to happen.
So, is anxiety and nervousness the same thing?
So I'm feeling anxiety, man.
Anxiety, nervousness, stress. Would you say it's all the same thing?
Similar, but yes,
So what's causing you some anxiety? Here, we'll just turn this into your therapy session. How about that?
this is therapy Rob session.
Yeah, it's his Rob therapy session right now.
Okay, I'm having anxiety about, to be honest with you, about going to Nashville.
Tell me how you feel.
Alex, I feel that this is going to be another interesting experience since we're going to rough it the whole 2 days.
So what he means by that, we'll be living like college kids again, meaning we're gonna have probably pizza for 2 days straight. Um,
Yes.
yeah, because during CMA Fest down there, you can only expect that everything's gonna be a little pricey, or at least we think so. So we're gonna probably play it safe. Instead of paying to go to the stadiums, we're just gonna listen to the street performers, listen to those in the bars, Hopefully we'll see what happens. We'll see what see what life throws at us, right?
Yes, yes.
I
But
don't
we
know
will also
what.
we won't be eating pizza the whole entire time.
Yeah, we might be getting sick of pizza, is what you're saying.
What I'm saying is Raising Cane's is there. So this is
Raising
our
Raising Cane's is
this
right
is
there.
our advertisement for Raising Cane. We will
We
hit
are
that.
not getting paid by Raising Cane's, but if they wanted to pay us, we are open to the possibility.
Yes, yes.
So, how is any of this possibly causing anxiety for you? Because this actually sounds like heaven.
Yes, what sounds like heaven may be a challenge for some. So what's bringing me that anxiety, man, because I have to leave my wife behind.
And four dogs,
And thank you, Alex.
six
Yes,
kids.
4 dogs. My kids are all gone.
Oh yeah, grandkids.
Grandkids.
Their dogs.
Yeah, I'm gonna be missing the basketball. My youngest one. My
I
youngest one.
mean, yeah, you act like we'll be gone forever, but
I don't
it's
know,
two,
2 days.
2 days. It's 2 days.
2 days. Short
But
time.
there's a lot of turbulence on a plane.
Right.
You never know what can happen. But hey, positive thinking. That's the thing. We'll talk about anxiety. All right. So, how do you deal with anxiety? All right. So, you say you're anxious about something like that. So, like, how do you personally deal with your anxiety?
For me personally, when the way I deal with anxiety is try not to really concern myself, although it is concerning, but not concern myself with stuff that I cannot control. That does help me limit the amount of stressors that may be going on in my body. I could feel sometimes I may feel my heart start to pump and race. So all those anxious feelings come about. What about you?
Oh, man. Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can happen, right? So anxiety can cause a lot of physical symptoms. It can cause, like you said, it can cause shaking, it can cause sweating, just the never-ending feeling like I just don't even know how to describe it. Like you're just thinking constantly, like you're just in this endless thought and you just don't know how to keep yourself relaxed. And
Even though
it starts to get scary. What?
you should try to relax. It does.
Yeah, it starts to get scary. And it's just like, how can I make this stop? I just want to make this stop. And then you start to get anxious for a whole other reason. You know what I mean? And so it's like the whole reason why you started to get anxious in the first place is now a secondary cause because now you just want to stop being anxious. You know what I mean? So pretty much what we're talking about is generalized anxiety, right? So generalized anxiety, everyone experiences. Every single person experiences at some point in their life. I've never met someone who has never experienced anxiety at any point in their life. Have you?
Oh, no, no, of course it happens. Especially think about this. Somebody's going to an amusement park and they see that big roller coaster and they want to get on that roller coaster. And they get in line. So, they're happy. They have
Yeah.
friends laughing with their family. As they get closer and closer to where you have to sit down, now they're starting to feel, all these anxious feelings and thinking about, okay, what could happen or what's about to happen. And then when you get in there and you sit down and they lock you in, and then you say, oh man, this is it.
Like I'm not getting out now. I'm in.
No,
I'm in for the long haul.
right. And
Yeah.
then that travel that's going up, up, up until you can see the whole entire park.
Well, and then your mind starts to go to the worst. You know, like the roller coasters where your legs are dangling. You know what I'm talking about? Where they just drop the floor and then your legs are dangling. It's like, oh, well, my legs are gonna fall off now.
I get
So it's
anxiety
like,
just watching that.
what's that?
I get anxiety just watching that.
I mean, I like roller coasters. Some people absolutely despise them and they just will never go on one, you know, because they are just so anxious to even set foot on one. You're one of them?
I'm one of them.
I love roller coasters, man. Some are thrill seekers, some are not. I get it. Everyone's different. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. It takes a lot. Like for me, I'm more like something like that doesn't give me anxiety. What always gave me anxiety was like test taking. It was more of the mental aspect.
Sure.
You know, like now bringing it to athletics, remembering certain things.
Oh,
Like when I was playing football, remembering the plays. Oh my gosh. Like the older you get, the amount of plays that you have to remember and the responsibilities and all the different it's insane the amount of stuff that you have to remember, the different techniques that you have to do and
I I remember I can recall one time in high school when we were playing this school. It was Ben Sellum, and they had this big DN, and I was a flanker, slot
yeah,
receiver, and I had to
small
block.
guy.
I had to block this guy, the fast guy. But I had to block this guy on this run play, and probably for the whole week, actually 2 weeks, because I was already thinking about it the week before we had to play them. I said, man, I got to play this guy. Um, I said, how am I going to block this guy? But I tell you what, once I got into the game and the first hit happened, I got knocked on the butt, but
Of
I got
course,
back.
because you were small.
No, no, very, very big guy.
As a slot receiver. Okay.
The slot receiver, yes. 5'11".
Really, as a high schooler, slot receiver.
Yeah, 5'11".
Okay. All right.
Well, the outside guy is 6'2", 6'3", and
Okay.
5'11". Only the one inside. But yeah, I mean, just getting that anxious feeling of getting ready to block someone.
Because you saw your opponent, you saw who you were going against.
Well, I knew who I was going against.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, this isn't great.
This,
Uh,
and
yeah,
it,
but like that's the physical aspect. But then you started to get in your head.
yeah, well, one thing that mentally for me, it's not for everyone, but mentally for me, I have a good ability to close things out. I was more worried about physical aspects of it than mentally. Mentally, I was prepared. I was, hey, this is my job. I gotta go do this.
Yeah.
Physically, like, man, it's my job. I gotta do this, but Mr. Sugar is about to knock me out.
He's about to knock me on my butt, and I'm about to look like the laughing stock of the entire game right now. So, funny story, you said you were physically outmatched, right? Yet literally yesterday, I was coaching Special Olympics, right? It was track and field. And one of my athletes with autism, younger, uh, he's thinking like, all right, I'm gonna win this. I'm gonna win this, you know, like super positive, super competitive. I'm gonna win this. Like, oh, I'm gonna win this a 50-meter dash. Like, oh, I'm gonna come in first place. and he's like the first one that was called in this heat. And then more people are called to the heat. There's 8 lanes, so we can only have 8 people, right? So, and then more people keep coming. It's like, okay, okay, I'm still gonna win. I'm still gonna win. And the next thing you know, there's another guy that comes. It's like, okay, maybe I'll come in second now. I'm gonna come in second. And then there's this guy who's 6'8". And then he was like, all right, I'm gonna come in third, maybe fourth now. He's definitely gonna win. And I'm like, we can't just assume. I mean, come on. But this guy was literally like, you have to look up, like he was like a tower, and he was just assuming, like, oh my gosh, like he is massive, and so we're just gonna lose. Like that was the thought. He just started getting his head and started to get anxious, and then during the race, kind of looked side to side and got really nervous and
Right.
lost. And goes to show that you get in your head and anxiety kicks in, you could
You think
lose.
something's gonna happen, it may happen.
Yeah, I'm sure you have plenty of stories with wrestling specifically when it comes to that.
Kind of, as a coach, I could see, I could see my wrestlers getting anxious about going out there.
I know what you're saying. I know. So when Rob and I coached together, because now I do it with my wrestling program. So if we see that our wrestlers just give up because either they're too tired or they're just too anxious, they think they're gonna lose right off the bat, they'll just stop trying. And then Rob and I'll just sit back in our chairs. They'll be like, "Oh, this is over." Like
Go,
they gave up.
yep, sit back.
That
There
was
you
yep, that
go.
was Rob. It's like, all right, this is done. 45 seconds later, they lost, and they're crying, and they're like, I don't know why I lost. And we have to tell them why they lost. It's like,
Getting
well,
themselves worked up before the match, knowing that they are prepared physically, they are prepared, they're ready. And but their challenge was the mental aspect of it.
yeah. And like, sure, we're laughing because looking back, it can be funny because and even when you talk to the athlete when they grow up, because now those athletes are way older
Yeah,
and they even laugh about it. They think it's funny. So it turns into something comical, but in the moment, it gets irritating for everyone, even them, right? It's irritating for the coach, it's irritating for the athlete because it's like, well, as the coach, we want you to listen, and as the athlete, they just want to win,
right.
and that's what we're trying to do at all costs. But at the same time, like with anxiety, you're just getting in your head. It's affecting your performance, right? So that's the big thing is like you're messing up, but you're messing up not really intentionally. You're messing up unintentionally, right?
Unintentionally and over something that we have limited control over.
Yeah. You're getting so worked up over something that you cannot control. It's like it's like in wrestling. The person that's gonna like sure, you guys are in the same weight class. You might be 5'9", your opponent might be 6'5". You know, they might be have a totally different skill set. One might be chunkier, one might be skinnier, but the chunkier person might be an insane wrestler. Who knows?
Right,
You never know. You never know the skill level of an athlete until you get out there and actually compete against them.
right, exactly.
It's
Especially, unless some wrestlers, they wrestle all year round, they wrestle in the summer, so they may know that person's work ethic, how
yeah.
hard drill.
And then right away, well, that's the thing. If they know that person that they wrestle all year round or something like that, and they have like that reputation, even if they're not that good, and it's like, oh, they wrestle year round, it's like, oh, I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna lose. And that's just what they tell themselves constantly. It's exactly what happens. And then they don't even want to listen to the coaching.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so like,
Go ahead.
no, what were you saying? I'll let you
No, no,
speak.
you're exactly right. This year in state, of course, I sent 6 people to state, and one of my wrestlers, he just got so worked up. because it was his first time there, that he once he got there, he couldn't perform. He couldn't wrestle. He wasn't wrestling like himself. He was wrestling as basically a first year wrestler. It's like, dude, like you need to like clear your mind, clear your head, and just go out there and do what you need to do. When out there, the second match you won, it's great. But then that third match where, hey, either you're going to go home or you get to the next round, he got so worked up again because he just see the other guy, warming up, and he was done before he even went out there.
And that's the common feeling, the intense fear of failure. And that's so many people. So, okay, here's the question. As a coach, because we work a lot with coaches, we're coaches. How do you handle that? Because obviously, there's ways to handle it before they enter competitive periods,
Yeah,
and then there's ways to handle it after competitive periods. It's not really ways to handle it during. So what's your strategy with dealing with kids who struggle with anxiety
yeah. I mean,
in these types of situations?
in those types of situations and a lot of competition situation is watching them through, through the year, through practice, trying to recognize what really
Yeah.
triggers them positively, what triggers them emotionally, what challenges do they have that could cause them to trigger? What happened at home? And they're bringing it to the wrestling room, or the
Is
football
is
field.
there a family member who's present that brings extra pressure to them that they want to impress?
Right.
That's I've seen that before.
Yeah. Or they have to, or they know, hey, dad's going to be at this meet. This is the first one. I have to win.
Or else he won't come back.
And then they put the win in front of their performance. So, which
Or
is
even a skill. Like how about that? We break it like it could be as little as a skill, like one skill, where it's like, man, it could be as simple as you get your chance to play in a football game, and it's like, oh, I haven't been taking this step right, right? I haven't been doing it, but the guy in front of me got hurt. I'm getting put in there. I have to do it. Um, so you get put in there, and it's like you're overthinking it. You're stepping the wrong way. Oh my gosh, I've had kids step the wrong way, and it's a disaster because then it just throws everyone off. And I'm telling my lineman that right now. I'm like, if one person steps the wrong way, the the entire line will be confused. So it's important everyone has an understanding of where to go, right? And so, but that's something that can be going through their head as simple as a step, right? Where if they feel like they're going to mess it up, they're going to mess it up, right?
right.
Just
But they,
continue getting in their head and that just small aspects like that. It's just, I don't know.
so as a coach, how do you let this person know that, hey, just go out there and perform instead of worrying about messing up for Coach Alex? How do you do that? Or how can coaches, you know, face that?
Repetition is key. I love repetition, especially noticing in practice. And I think when I say repetition, I'm not saying do the same exact drill every single day because there's a lot of different techniques you have to work on in order to become the best at that specific sport. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, in order to find out what an athlete needs to improve on, you need to work at a lot of different stuff. But then once you figure out those improvement areas, you can hone in on those improvement areas and work on them more in depth, and that's what you can rep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can focus on the repetitions of the specific improvement areas. And the more you keep working at it, and the more you keep working at it, especially as a unit, as a team, if you are in a team environment or as an individual, and especially this is huge for athletes to do individually too. I know a lot of athletes nowadays don't really do a lot of individual work. I think personally it's very important to kind of bring it home and do it yourself. But breaking it down into the small parts and then
What
rep after
about
rep after rep after rep looking at it, I think filming yourself is also a great way to look at it as well.
what about for the swimmer or the tennis player or the track?
Yeah.
How do you feel they should prepare?
Specifically for anxiety.
Yeah, for anxiety, this is what we're talking about this week. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think specifically there has to be a lot of you have to get comfortable with the environment, right? So if you know you're going to be competing in a specific environment, visit the place. So getting comfortable with the environment and experiencing it for yourself. So if you're at a high school and you know you're going to be and you know you're going to be at a high school not far, go get a lay of the land. You could visit during the week when nobody's going to be there. So that way not everything is new to you. Because a lot of times the setting and the scenery is new to a lot of people and it gives them kind of the chills, you know, it gives them that shaky feeling, that the anxious feeling, you know. So just getting that idea and getting comfortable with where you're competing at. Um, Sometimes it could be a specific smell, you know, and that maybe there's a specific routine that they have to do. There's athletes who like to meditate before they compete, like to get their mind in the right place before they enter that state of competition, so they feel 100% ready. So it's just trying to find out what your coping mechanisms are that can work for you because everyone's different. What works for you is going to be different than what works for me, right? And it's all mental. That's the thing. It's all mental. So if that's running a 100-yard dash before, like in your warm-ups, and that's going to make you calm down and feel good, cool, go do it. But you're not going to catch me running a 100-yard dash before anything. So
No.
yeah, I'm not doing that. So, you know what I'm saying though? So it's really, I mean, anxiety is all mental, and that's why we're covering this stuff. It's all neurological. You can't see any of this stuff. Sure, there's physical symptoms, but what we're breaking down is hopefully like why this stuff happens and what you could do to not really prevent it, but how to cope with it
Prepare
and how to
yourself.
handle it.
Prepare yourself for it.
Yeah, because it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I mean, I hate to say it, but anxiety will happen. And it's not just general anxiety. I mean, people struggle with social anxiety, and again, we cover both of these in our certification. Just a little pitch on that. But what about for you? What would you say to those athletes who are struggling?
Yeah, I mean, you brought up a good point. Is familiarize yourself with the location where you want to be at. Familiarize yourself with. Make sure you understand your playbook or your strokes, or practice taking off when you're swimming, your takeoff. Work on your takeoff. Work in tennis. Go to the site. You more likely should be able to get on there on the court, especially if it's a local school.
Absolutely.
Here, where I'm at in Bloomington Normal, we have five different high schools, so we have five different locations that they will be playing, competing against each other. So that's a good lay to land. One one thing that we struggle with here in Bloomington Normal, or here in the location where we're at, is that they know each other. These individuals, these kids, they know each other. So a lot of the anxiety is, man, I gotta do well, or they're gonna call me out on social media. They're gonna blast me out. So those are some added anxieties that we do deal with here.
I mean, social media has turned into such a negative aspect in society, and it can cause a lot of anxiety. It can cause a lot of depression. We talked about depression in our last session, right? And so is there a way around that? Is there a way to handle that? Or is it out of our control? Because I think a simple way to for a coach to handle it is just get out there and do the best you can. Just be you. It's true. Just be you, but understanding kind of what you're feeling and how you're feeling can help you do the best that you can in the competitive environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
You're
mean,
exactly right.
yeah, and I think also the thing is too, and I tell people this all the time, you need to have something else besides, like for me, when I was an athlete, sports was work. Like what you said earlier, when you played, it was work. This is my job. School was also a job. So as an athlete, you have two jobs. You're playing your sport and you're going to school. Fair?
Yep.
So I always say, in addition to having a job, you need to have a hobby. You need to do something for self-care, not just watching TV. Anybody can just turn on a TV. You need to do something that is good for you and you only. And
Yes.
it can be
Something that
different for everyone.
you enjoy doing.
Absolutely. It's different for everyone. And I'm a recreational therapist. I tell people this all the time. When I worked in psych, man, we did assessments with kids all the time about what they enjoyed doing. You know how many kids said, I don't like doing anything? But then by the time they left the unit, they always had something to circle that they enjoyed doing. So we got them to always say they like something by the time they left, which is cool. So it could be as simple as reading a story. It could be as simple as reading a story, coloring. Me personally, love playing music, love going for walks. Clears my mind, you know. That's what I'm talking about. And that's exactly how you can handle anxiety. And I know it has nothing to do with athletics, but that's the point. Is athletes go through intense pressure. And they go through a lot of thinking
Yeah.
about like
Thinking about thinking.
thinking about thinking
They
exactly.
do.
Oh
They
my
definitely
gosh.
think about thinking. They can't stop.
There's a lot of, yeah, and it just feels like your mind is never ending. But there's ways to handle that, and there's ways to find that.
Yeah.
And
We have
coaches
that
can
covered.
help. What's that?
So we have that covered. And coaches can help.
Coaches can help. Coaches are role models. You need to be able to rely on people. You're not going to be able to handle everything by yourself, right? So
Right.
as a coach, how important is it to be a role model to your athletes?
Right. I mean, be more than a coach, you know, be a person that can recognize challenges. No, we are not medical professionals.
But when something seems
Oh,
off,
something's off. Something's not right. It's better to recognize it and try to address it as soon as possible.
because athletes spend more time with you guys than they spend with their own families when they're in season,
Yes.
which says a lot. So, with that being said, Rob, there any last thoughts regarding anxiety that you want to share with our audience?
It's one thing I feel that if they take away anything from this segment is only worry about what you can control. Don't spend too much time thinking about what you can't. I have that challenge sometimes.
I do
I'm
too.
sure a lot of people do. So try to focus on what you can control and then have positive thoughts. Positive, positive, positive.
Promote that positive thinking to everyone you know.
Yes.
Be there for your athletes, be there for your coaching staff. Promote positive thinking, promote self-care, promote confidence. And again, we cover all of this in our ExpandAbilities Coach Certification and specifically for coaches and athletic administrators and personnel, where you can learn more about anxiety and depression, in addition to a lot more about neurological disorders. This is only session two of this 8 session series that we are covering for ExpandAbilities Meets. This is number two. This is number two. We have 6 more. See, I know how to do math.
Okay.
Yep, this is number two. This is session. So this is session. First, we did depression. This is anxiety. Next is bipolar disorder. This is a series.
Right. But we did introduction
We
before that.
we did an intro. We did an intro, but we're doing a series of 8. So this is the second one of the series.
Yes. Second of the series. You're
See,
correct.
now we're on the same page. See,
Yes.
this is why it works.
See,
So,
that was my anxiety kicking in.
see, yeah, yeah, that's. See, anxiety kicks in whenever we can't control it. Oh, look at that, man. So again, we love it if you guys give us, if you guys would take it, give us some feedback, push it to all the coaches out there because this is really important. These are precious lives that we are working with here, and we want to promote athletics to as many lives as we can because every kid deserves a chance to participate in the same game, regardless of their ability level and psychological level. So, so again, we thank you for joining in with us. Next, we are doing bipolar disorder. So we are excited to cover that for our next session. And I'll let Rob close us out.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Definitely appreciate all the people that's in this room right now. We're filling up fast and we're getting a lot of likes. So hit that like button. And for me and Alex, this is ExpandAbilities Meets.
Thank you guys.